What is up, guys? My name is Sid Corrigan, and we are on F1 24 Driver Career. This is Season 1, Episode 4 for the Miami Grand Prix. Coming up. So here we are, headed into the Miami Grand Prix, our second sprint race in a row. It's gonna really limit the resource points we can get, as we're on reduced already, and now we have less practice sessions. So our contract performance is definitely on an upward trajectory, so that's positive. We are beating our teammate in the rivalry right now. We are the second worst team on the grid still in terms of development. We have 2 upgrades in the pipeline. We're about even with Williams currently, slightly ahead of Kick Sauber, and a little bit behind Alpine. That's why it's so important right now that we focus on performance upgrades. We really need to try to keep the car in a performance window that can keep us in the points.
Okay, all the new parts have been fabricated and we're going to have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
So my minor tire wear upgrade was successful. And up next we have Hulkenberg's weight redistribution upgrade. And that's a success. So 2 chassis upgrades. It's very good because that's one of our weakest departments right now. Let's head in to the Miami Sprint weekend. Let's get our specialists set up for the week. First up is Deborah, our wind tunnel engineer. And I was thinking about this one, and I decided to go with the second one. Open the DRS slot for more than 45 seconds. Seems very doable. Next up, we have Mr. B. He's our power unit consultant. And he wants us to use the ARS for more than 35 seconds on a weekend, which should be very easy to do, considering how much we use the battery. And then we come to Karen, who wants us to complete 5 laps in practice, not counting the ins and out lap. And Sue, our strategy analyst, who's never looks happy with us. She wants us to complete the strategy practice program on 2 different sets of tires. We'll try to get that done. And as we look at the development chart heading into Miami, looks like everybody brought at least 1 or 2 minor upgrades, but Kick Sauber brought a big upgrade, as did Ferrari, as they're trying to catch Red Bull in the constructors at the moment. As we look at the standings, Verstappen still at the top, 15 ahead of Leclerc. Perez, Alonso, and Russell round out the top 5. Red Bull ahead in the constructors, with Ferrari only 26 points back, so they're still within striking distance.
Welcome back to Miami and welcome to qualifying. Only raw speed will separate these drivers today, but the question is, who's got what it takes to get pole?
So we got the weird glitch again, where other drivers can use softs instead of mediums in
Clear the garage,
SQ1.
please. Car's ready to leave. Okay, we've been pushed down to P12.
Here we go, our first push lap on the mediums. Let's try to get a good time in here. So we head into the first corner. We lock up and go deep, so that's not a good start to the lap. Try to make up for it here. We run right, we have a big spin. Oh, we got on the painted stuff and lost all grip. Uh-oh.
Okay, just 2 laps of fuel remaining now. We're seeing major damage to the rear wing. Box. The rear diffuser's got a lot of damage. It's in a bad way, I'm afraid.
I think we just sent Pierre Gasly to the 4th dimension. Oh, that was just really bad luck. Really bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time for Gasly. And the repair time is going to eat up the rest of our time here in SQ1, so unfortunately,
Car repairs have set us back a little.
we are going to be out in SQ1 with our first big rookie mistake. Not how I wanted my home Grand Prix to start. Wanted to show off to the fans, get a good run in, perform well, and that is not how I wanted it to go. Sergio Perez also didn't get a time in. Gasly didn't get a time in, obviously, because I killed him. And it looks like we picked up a penalty on top of it. So definitely not an ideal start to the weekend. Looks like it's going to be dry in the sprint race, but we are going to have some weather going into the main feature race. As Mark informs me, I did in fact pick up a 5-place grid penalty for causing a collision. So we're going to have a difficult job in the sprint trying to work our way forward.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Ocon, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Albon, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Bottas, Joe, Gasly, Perez, and a Haas rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Right, back of the grid. I mean, there is literally only one direction we can go from here, so try and move forward and see if we can get something out of it.
Thank you for the enthusiasm, Mark. I will do my best. So a big thank you to the mechanics for getting my car in working order for the sprint, spending all of Friday night getting it back in working order so that we could take part in the sprint. I got a shellacking from the team principal and Mark for trying to push the car beyond its capabilities too early. So we'll try to stay within ourselves now and move forward. We try to get some temperature into the tires on this formation lap.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap.
Weaving around to get as much temperature in as we possibly can. It's more the front tires I'm having trouble getting the temperature in. The Pac-Man sounds. We got a good parking. The 5 red light. And the Miami Sprint is underway. Get a lot of wheel spin off the start. Not a very good getaway. We're gonna dive off the inside. Right beside Pierre Gasly again as we're rubbing the tires. More contact. And we're getting up close and personal with the Alpines this weekend. We had to back out of that. I didn't want to pick up damage so early in the sprint. Unfortunately, we were unable to make very much progress, only getting past the Red Bull of Perez. But Joe and Gasly are still battling, so we're going to dive up the inside of turn 7. Nearly run into the back of Sargent, but we get it stopped. And we made our way up to 17th with a big double overtake in the long left-hander. And now we got to try to chase down Sargent as we burn plenty of battery, heading down towards the big braking zone of turn 11 as we have a battle for the lead at the front of the field. Russell in the Mercedes is trying to overtake the Red Bull of Verstappen. This is 1st and 5th in the standings, and Russell gets through. The Mercedes showing genuine pace this weekend.
All right, let's focus now for the rest of the race.
As we're going to have to go defensive on Gasly. We don't have a lot of battery to use. We're going to go up the inside, a little bit of a lockup, but we do manage to stay ahead of the Alpine for the moment. And Verstappen's not going to wait for the DRS to be activated. He's on the attack already, trying to retake the lead. He's up the inside of the Mercedes. Leclerc is waiting for either one of them to make a mistake. And Verstappen's through, back into the lead. We're getting closer to the back of the Williams as we go through the S section. Heading into the Marina section, into turn 7 again, we make a dive. And we're through. And that's quickly becoming one of my favorite places to overtake on this track.
Good job, nice overtake.
The Sargent's not going to give it up easily. He's burning the battery to stay with us. We're going to go defensive. And he can't decide if he wants the inside or the outside. And he's hit us, and we spun! Oh, come on, Sargent. What the hell was that? So let's take another look at that in the replay. It was 3 wide with Gasly on the outside, and Sargent just used the police pit maneuver technique and spun us off into the runoff area. And our Miami weekend goes from bad to worse. That's the kind of stuff that happens when you're back in the field, but man, that's frustrating. I felt like we were actually making some really good progress forward. We'd made some good passes, and now we're just so far off the other cars that we're going to need a safety car, even just to catch back up to the field. And Russell is putting pressure on Verstappen, who locks up and goes straight on. And Verstappen rejoins, nearly running into Hamilton. And the Mercedes of Hamilton and Verstappen are side by side battling for third. Russell's taken over the lead, Leclerc in second. And Verstappen has managed to hold on to third after that mistake.
Sergeant stopping now.
So it looks like Sargent picked up damage in that incident with us at turn 11. So he'll drop to the back of the field as we have a battle for the lead now between the Ferrari of Leclerc and Russell. And Leclerc is through. The Ferrari's taken over the lead of the race. Leclerc, who's only 15 points back of Max in the standings right now. A win would really do his championship a lot of good. But as the cars head down towards turn 11, Leclerc's under pressure from Russell and the Mercedes. Verstappen thought about making that 3 wide, but smartly backed out of it as we're heading into the narrow, slow section. As Russell and Leclerc are still side by side, and Russell squeezes through, back into the lead. And all that battling between Leclerc and Russell is allowing Max to catch back up.
Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 12.5 seconds.
And giving him another opportunity to take the lead. As we have some kind of issue. There it is. Even better. Our Miami weekend has been so bad so far.
Okay, Mark here. You're causing unnecessary wear to your transmission. Try to take it easy or we're going to risk losing it.
And our gearbox has given up. And that's the end of the race for us, as our home race weekend is an absolute tatters so far. We're going to have to work hard to try to build some kind of confidence heading into qualifying. Yeah, I'm not even sure where to go from here. So Verstappen wins the simulated remainder of the race, followed by Leclerc and Russell on the podium. Norris got the last point down there in 8th, increasing McLaren's lead on us in the constructors. So bad news all around for us, as Verstappen extends his lead to 16 in the Drivers' Championship, and we fall to 21 points behind McLaren in 5th, and only 8 ahead of Kick Sauber down in 7th. As our driver rating's going to take a hit with experience, although our racecraft and awareness apparently went up, pace went down, and in reality our focus went down because I'm still a little bit reeling from the events of the weekend so far. Really gotten away from us. I'm going to have to ask the mechanics why they didn't change the gearbox when we had so much damage to the rear end of our car. Let's see if we can recover something. Let's head to qualifying.
Welcome back to Miami and welcome to qualifying. Only raw speed will separate these drivers today, but the question is, who's got what it takes to get pole?
Everyone ready? Okay, let's go.
As we head out for our first qualifying lap, we're going to have to rebuild the confidence and push through. This is our second lap so far. As we head into the first corner, we're much better through there. A little tentative in turn 3, as this is where we lost the back end of the car and crashed in sprint qualifying. So I'm still looking, trying to find the limit. A little bit of a snap off the curb there. And then we lock up into turn 7 and run a little bit wide, and now we're down on time. Not the best lap I've ever done here, but we just need a time good enough to see us through into Q2, build ourselves up, regain the swagger, give the American fans something to cheer for. As we head into the tight, twisty section of the Miami track, into the slow speed chicane. Going through turn 16, we need a good exit here as we'll carry all that speed down the back straight. I find it a little bit amusing that it was the two American drivers that took each other out in the sprint race. And Gasly, who I killed in sprint qualifying as Alpine was trying to recruit me to be his teammate. Doubt that offer's still on the table, as we're 7/10 up, and it puts us up into P6 for the moment. Hopefully that's good enough to see us through. And it is good enough to get through Q1. So the first positive of the weekend, we can build on that. We're heading into Q2. Unfortunately, our teammate didn't make it. He was eliminated in 19th.
Okay, that's all the checks complete. We're ready to go.
Heading on to our final run of Q2. The clouds have moved in over Miami. I don't think we're expecting rain, but the overcast is actually helping with the shadows on this track, as we had to back out of our first lap because I made a mistake on it. So the pressure is on now. We're going to get one run to make it into Q3, which would be huge for us after the weekend we've had so far. And it's very important that we qualify well. If we qualify well, we have enough pace that we can hold on to a points position. But I think the sprint race showed, even before we had the failure, that it would be really difficult for us to move forward. I think our teammate bears that out as well, as he's had a lot of trouble moving through the field this year. As we head into the slow speed chicane of 13, 14, and 15. Need that big exit out of 16, and we definitely do it better than we did on our first lap. So we're doing well so far, 2/10 up, clinging on to 10th. As I ran into the wall a little bit there with my tire. Can't afford stupid mistakes like that. As we're clinging on to the final spot to make it through into Q3. We're burning the rest of the battery. Well, we are low. And did we do enough? 10th, just enough. And we do make it into Q3. And we can finally give the team something to cheer about this weekend, as it's been a pretty dreary weekend for myself and Nico. So Stroll, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, and Ricciardo are all eliminated in Q2.
All set, we're ready to go, so let's get the car out onto the track.
Let's see what we can do on our one lap in Q3. A little bit wide of the first apex. And running through the long turn 3. And now we enter the S section. Really tricky section. Got to carry as much speed as possible. Into turn 7 now, and we run a little bit wide there. Got a lot of understeer through that corner. Not ideal, as I actually think this is a pretty good showing from us after our first real crash in F1. Rebuilding ourselves, picking ourselves up, and proving that we deserve to be here. And understanding now that making Q3 is the goal, but I don't think the car is capable of much higher than maybe 8th at best. So if we can get 8th, I would be very happy with that, as we have a little bit of traffic ahead of us, but I think they're far enough ahead that it's not going to matter much. As we enter the heavy braking zone of turn 17, good rotation through there, and to the line. It's only good enough for 10th. Couple mistakes on that lap might have cost us a little bit. A 10th to Piastri and 9th I think might have been possible. A little over 2 tenths to Hamilton and 8th Might have been a little too much to ask. As we pick up a little bit of a boost of pace for our qualifying effort, try to rebuild our rating after the really tough start to our weekend. And we are expecting a little bit of rain towards the end of the race. What time will that hit us? Let's head to the grid.
Formula One has arrived in the Sunshine State for spectacular sunsets, gentle breezes, warm waters, and for what will be a fantastic race day here at the Miami International Autodrome. With great opportunities for wheel-to-wheel battles featuring 19 corners, 3.36 miles long, and expected average speeds of 138 miles an hour, the Miami International Autodrome will be sure to create lots of chances to overtake. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. Edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Perez, Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Haas, Stroll, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Albon, Joe, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Sargent, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid.
Right, Mark here, can you hear me? Good luck today, we can make a top 10 position, so give it 100%.
So Mark sounds much happier after qualifying than he did sprint qualifying, for obvious reasons. I think we're going to take a gamble here and start on the alternate strategy. We're going to start on the hards, just in case that rain decides to come a little bit early. We might be able to go from hards straight onto the intermediates. Gotta try to gain as much through strategy as we possibly can, as the car is still not quite there yet.
We're not seeing any technical issues coming off the practice starts. Watch the RPM on the full start. We don't want you to bog down.
We definitely need to get a better start than we did during the sprint, as we got way too much wheel spin in the sprint race.
Okay, that's not an ideal placement in your grid. See a good launch at the race starts. Keep an eye on the lights. The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
And the 5 red lights in the Miami Grand Prix is underway. There's a really long hold on the red lights there, as we get a much better start than we did in the sprint. As we go up the inside of Piastri, but we're 3 wide and there's not a lot of room here. The battle between Sainz, Piastri, and myself. And this time, we don't back out. We get through. But Sainz slips back past us, as Piastri makes an audacious move there and ends up losing a spot to Gasly in the Alpine. Gasly's done a good job to move forward. He's up to 10th. As we burn battery all the way down this straight, as I don't want another overambitious car running into the back of us. Further up the field, the battle for 4th and 5th. Perez is putting all kinds of pressure on the back of Leclerc. And the Ferrari locks up and goes deep into turn 11 and allows Perez and Russell through, dropping Leclerc all the way down to 6th, as we're right on the back of Sainz, going through the slow speed section. Everybody is concertinaing up. As long as we can stay close to these guys, we can stay in the DRS train. We should, in theory, be able to hold on to these points. As Gasly is in our slipstream right now. Looks like he's burning battery too, as he makes a half-hearted effort into turn 17, but backs out of it. And we're able to hold on to 9th. Coming to the end of lap 2 now, and Alonso's pushing that Aston Martin beyond what the development chart says it should do. Alonso has the DRS, as he's challenging for the lead. And Verstappen has a big lockup, this time into the first corner, and allows Alonso and Norris through, dropping him all the way down to 3rd, as the brake issues continue for the Red Bull, as we've dropped just outside the DRS of Sainz in front of us. which is going to make it very difficult to hold on to ninth and fend off Gasly. As Gasly's only 3/10ths back, is he close enough to make a move? I don't want to defend thin air. We'll go slightly defensive, and we're able to keep the Alpine behind us for another lap. As on lap 4, the Alpine is even closer as we head through the S section. Piastri and the McLaren is close as well. We could be in danger of losing 2 positions down the DRS straight, since we fell out of the DRS with a much faster Ferrari. As Gasly's gonna go up the outside. But we are able to maintain ninth, using all of our battery to just stay ahead of the Alpine. As at the front of the field, Verstappen looks to redeem himself as he's going for the lead of the race on Alonso. The Aston Martin isn't keen to give up the lead yet. They're side-by-sides heading down the start-finish straight. Neck and neck as we head into the first corner. And this time, Verstappen's able to reclaim the lead. After falling back to third, he's recovered well.
Engine's running hot. Let's try and keep it cool.
And our engine is overheating again, which means we're going to be struggling down the straight, as we're already struggling with straight line speed in this race. And the other problem I ran into in China, I had problems getting my engine cooled down without dropping major positions, as we're also out of battery. We go defensive, and we're able to fend off Gasly again, and with a big slide. Very nearly lost the car in the right-handed turn 12. Start of lap 6, and Zhou challenging Ricciardo. And Ricciardo locks up and goes deep, allowing both Saubers through, and our teammate tries to go through as well, but Ricciardo fends him off. As on lap 6, Gasly's a lot closer to us this lap, and all this battling has dropped us nearly 3.5 seconds off the back of Sainz. Hopefully we can catch back up when we reach the tire crossover, when the hards become the better tire to be on. As Verstappen dives up the inside of Norris into turn 11, Norris doesn't want to give it up as they're side-by-side through 12. But Verstappen has to back out of it and wait for a better opportunity. We have the DRS on Gasly down the back straight, having just lost the position to him with DRS before the slow speed section. But we're also under threat from Stroll in the Aston Martin. But we're going to dive back up the inside of turn 17. And that allows Piastri to get through on Stroll. Piastri, very opportunistic move in the other McLaren. So on the end of lap 7, Verstappen's going for the lead on Alonso with a dive into turn 17. And the Red Bull is reclaimed first.
Okay, nice work. Really good job with that target, mate.
As we finally passed the objective and got our engine temperature down, hopefully that means we can go after Gasly and recapture 9th. But as we chase down Gasly on lap 8, we have to be very aware of Piastri behind us, as he's on a similar strategy to us, starting on the hards and going long, which means he's going to have very similar pace to us, even at the crossover. We go defensive, and we are able to fend off the McLaren. We head on to lap 9. Verstappen and Alonso at the front of the field are fighting again. Norris is pressurizing Alonso, and this time it's Alonso who locks up and goes deep. And he drops all the way down to 5th. As on lap 10, we finally reach the crossover. As Gasly goes defensive, we go up the inside, but he turns in on us. We're banging tires as we head towards the right-hander at turn 12, and the contact nearly makes us lose the back end. Oh, that was a big slide, but we are able to slip through. Back up into 9th. Piastri got through on Gasly as well, dropping the Alpine all the way down to 11th, and out of the points as those mediums wear out. But towards the end of lap 11, and Gasly's gonna try to come back at us with DRS. We're gonna go up the inside of turn 1, and we are able to hold on to 10th, But Piastri had gotten us with DRS shortly before that, as we have a bit of a snap of oversteer there, as we have PTSD from losing it in that corner earlier in the weekend. As on to lap 12, the battle for the lead between Norris and Verstappen is heating up. The McLaren and Red Bull are side by side as they cross the start-finish line. Verstappen has the inside line, but Norris isn't ready to give it up yet. This battle's going to continue all the way through turn 3, but Verstappen's able to keep his foot in and maintain the lead. Coming to the end of lap 13, and Verstappen's going to peel off into the pit lane. And the pit stop sequences are now going to begin. Norris takes over the lead. Perez in second, Russell up to third.
We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
As we move up to sixth, with the cars in the pit lane, now my goal is to catch up to Piastri. We have to get back into his DRS. That'll open up the strategy for us a little bit, as we can go long if we need to. And we have now managed to get back within a second of the second McLaren, as we are much quicker through the slow section of the track. I think we're carrying a little bit too much wing. But after the sprint qualifying incident, I decided to add a little bit of wing to be a little bit more stable.
We think we might see some rain, ETA about 15 minutes. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 4.5 seconds.
Okay, the gap is not 4.5 seconds, Mark, but thank you. And the rain call has finally come, and it's 15 minutes away. We may not even get rain in this race, so we need to start thinking about when we want to pit onto the mediums. As we see Sainz trying to get back through the traffic behind Ricciardo, the RB is yet to pit, and the Ferrari is the much faster car. He really needs to clear Ricciardo here, as he doesn't want to be stuck at the RB pace through the entire slow section of the track. And he's able to get through, so that'll help Sainz's race immensely.
We're going to box this lap and push hard on the in-lap.
I still haven't decided if I am going to box on this lap, as Piastri is dragging us along really well, as he's holding on to second right now, and we're all the way up to third, obviously before the pit stop. But if we could make him last all the way to the intermediates, we could save ourselves a pit stop, as Hamilton and Leclerc are both trying to clear Ricciardo now. As Leclerc is stuck Hamilton behind Ricciardo and dives up the inside, but Ricciardo locks up, goes deep, and really lets both of them off the hook, as Hamilton and Leclerc are both through, clearing the much slower RB of Ricciardo. As Piastri continues on, so we continue on as well. Norris in the lead McLaren peeled off into the pits
Gap
though.
to the car in front is less than 1 second now. Well done. Let's try and get past in the DRS zone.
So I'm guessing Piastri will be in on this lap, as we have a battle between Tsunoda, Gasly, and Stroll. And they're going to go 3 wide into turn 11. Looks like there's a little bit of contact, as Stroll and Gasly are through, and Stroll improves up into 12th. As we approach the end of lap 17, is McLaren going to call Piastri in on this lap? Mark told me the rain is still 10 minutes away, so I'm going to do the opposite of whatever Piastri does. And Piastri does head into the pit, so we continue on for one more lap, as Russell and Alonso battle for 4th. The Mercedes dives to the inside of the Aston Martin. Little bit of contact there between Alonso and Russell. What happened to Alonso's pace? At one point in this race, Alonso was leading. He is able to fend off Russell for 4th. On the end of lap 18, we are coming into the pits. We extended the hard stint. We were trying to get it to the rain, but as what happened to Gasly? Oh, Gasly, who's been in the points all day. Looks like he's blown up his engine. Is it too much to ask for a safety car? As we entered the pit lane, as he's forced to park it up, that Renault engine has given up the ghost, as we are coming in. And I really hope it doesn't start raining right now. We were in a bit of an impossible situation. Stay out and hope for the rain,
Fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
or the rain never comes and we get caught out
Stop. No more scheduled pit
with
stops.
really
Let's
old
go.
tires. And let's see where we're gonna filter out here. We come out side by side with Piastri. but he's got the tire temps, and Piastri's gonna pull ahead of us. Lap 20, and Alonso's the only car without DRS here. Perez pulls to the outside, and Russell dives to the inside. The Ferraris are side by side behind. And Perez and Russell each pass Alonso. And Perez does a double overtake, moving up into third. That was a hell of a double overtake by Perez there. Very aggressive move, dropping Alonso all the way off the podium and down to fifth as we force Piastri to go defensive into turn 17. We aren't actually going for a move here. I want him to drag us a little bit closer to Hamilton if we can, as we're faster through the corners, and with DRS, we're able to maintain that pace. So hopefully we can hitch our wagon to Piastri and join that DRS train that Hamilton's in. As the battle for the podium continues on to lap 21. This time it's Russell trying to cling on to third, with Perez going to the outside, and Alonso trying to go up the inside. Alonso's gonna try to pull that same double move that Perez pulled off last lap to get himself back onto the podium. But Perez is able to hold on and maintain third. And our plan has worked an absolute treat as Piastri has dragged us up to the back of Hamilton, and now we're in the same DRS train as Hamilton, Perez, Alonso, and all of the leaders from third all the way down to us. Now we can try to pick off the driver ahead and maintain the DRS to keep the position we just gained. Just behind us, we're seeing the battle for 11th and 12th between Tsunoda and the Aston Martin of Stroll. Tsunoda pulls out the slipstream, and the RB is up into 11th. The RB's actually showing some pace here around Miami. It's on to lap 23. We're going to try to put our plan into action. We're going to dive up the inside of Piastri. Little bit of contact, but we are through. Up into ninth, as it's time to find a new horse to hitch our wagon to. And we've been able to maintain the DRS on Hamilton. So now we'll recharge the battery and then go after the Mercedes next, as we try to flip the narrative on our weekend so far. As we're all over the back of the Mercedes through the slow speed section, as this DRS train concertina's up. This is third, all the way down to 10th place. The top two have run away. Norris and Verstappen have completely run away with this race. As we see a battle at the front of this DRS train, Alonso and Perez battle over the podium. And this just makes it easier for us to stay in this DRS train. As the leaders battle and slow each other up, they're just giving us more and more opportunities to move forward. But this is a heck of a battle continuing all the way through turn 3. And into the S section, Perez is through up into third. And we're gonna make a dive on Hamilton, and we're through, clean as you like. And from our point of view, we make a clean pass into our very favorite passing zone on this track, maximizing the strength of our car in the corners as we are cutting our way through this DRS train. We've been able to keep the DRS and recharge our batteries every other lap. As Hamilton's gonna try to go around the outside, he's not ready to give up that position yet. Alonso, Perez, and Russell heading into turn 11. They're gonna go 3 wide. Oh, they're taking a huge risk here, as there's contact and more contact there. Alonso comes out on top, up into third, and Sainz is able to slip past Russell because of that contact. That's the risk you take going 3 wide into that corner, as Russell gets shuffled all the way down to 6th. As on lap 25, we're on the back of Leclerc and the other Ferrari. And I very seriously considered going for the dive bomb there on Leclerc, but I didn't want to risk losing time. The move can be risky, but I have to be very sure I can make it through clean. As on the end of lap 25, Perez slides back into the podium position, and Alonso is dropped back to 4th. There is all kinds of movement in this DRS train, however, as we are creeping up to the back of Leclerc and the Ferrari, trying to time our attack to move forward.
Okay, we don't think we're far away from rain now. I'll keep you updated as conditions change.
We dive up the inside of Leclerc, and we're through into 7th, and we're gonna dump the battery to stay ahead of the Ferrari. At the front of the field, we haven't checked in on these two in a while. They've run away from the rest of the field, but they're battling each other hard. Norris and Verstappen are side by side into the first corner. Still side by side as we head towards turn 3. And Norris is through. He leads on lap 27. As we creep up to the back of Russell on lap 27. We're gonna go for another move through turn 7. But Russell's able to hold on to the outside. And we're forced to give him room since he's still there. And now we're running side by side down the straight, burning all of our battery. And now Leclerc's on the attack. As there's a battle in front of us as well, as we go 3 wide into turn 11. We are able to fend him off. And that contact was actually between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. As we made no contact, we clearly made it through. As Leclerc tries to hang on the outside of Russell, but Russell makes it back through, holding on to 7th, as Alonso and Perez continue the battle for the podium. And Perez is cleanly through, up into 3rd. But the rain has finally arrived. It has started to rain now. And the monkey wrench has officially been thrown into the race, as it must have been hurricane season in Miami, because this track got so wet, so fast, as we had a big snap of oversteer in turn 3, which allowed Russell to slide through. But then he loses traction and allows us to go right back through. And we are having trouble staying straight on the track right now.
Okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled.
As DRS has been disabled, immediately giving you an idea of how slick it is, as Carlos Sainz spins it. Oh, Sainz lost the back end and totally spun. And it is treacherous right now. As we watch the incident from our point of view, Sainz just loses the back end and spins it. And it's too late in the race for a safety car, so half the field gets caught up behind that spin. It just mixes up the order behind us as we slip, slide, and skitter our way through turn 17, literally just trying to survive.
Final lap, let's go, final lap. Okay,
One more lap.
The gap that we're trailing the car ahead by, 3.3 seconds.
Okay, Mark, I don't care at the moment. I'm literally just trying to survive. As we are going so slowly through turn 3 and still nearly lose the car. This is the fastest I've ever seen a track get wet in this game, or any F1 game I've ever played. Which, granted, is only a couple years, but wow. In fairness, in real life, this race would have been red flag, and we'd be all heading back to the garage. As I am going so slowly through this part of the track right now. And the fact that none of the cars are really gaining on me. Even the AI are struggling in these conditions. As Verstappen comes around the final corner. The Red Bull is gonna win a very crazy Miami Grand Prix, with Norris finishing 2nd, and Perez will round out the podium in a very distant 3rd. And we will grab ourselves a very strong 5th.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
It's redemption in Miami. After an awful first half of the weekend, it's a very rewarding 5th place. Good strategy, good plan to get further ahead, and we win Driver of the Day.
And that's the checkered flag. What an amazing victory in what has been a great Miami Grand Prix.
And they're just starting to make it look easy out there. Now a hat-trick of wins. They're out there ahead. They've got the momentum on their side. And it's for the others now to try and up their game to stop that energy that they have.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
And Verstappen extends his lead at the top of the championship. And a good showing from Perez and Red Bull extend their lead at the top of the constructors. So a good day for Red Bull, a good day for us, as we're able to pick up 10 points, which is huge for the team. Really redeem ourselves. Unfortunately, our teammate finished all the way down in 19th, just unable to move forward again. Verstappen extends his lead at the top of the championship to 38, and Perez moves up to second. Alonso in third now, 40 back. We've gotten ourselves up to 9th with 21 points. And we've kind of solidified 6th now with that 10-point finish. But McLaren still got more points than us, so I think 5th might be out of reach. As our rating gets a huge boost. And we needed that after the start of the weekend. Although for some reason we lost pace, and I'm not sure why. Huh. Anyway, we beat our teammate again, and that boosts our recognition. We're nearly even with Hulk. We failed the strategy analyst as I realized after that it was a sprint race and we only had one practice session, and I needed that to find a setup. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for this week. I'll see you next week at Imola. Goodbye.